But I think of it in three ways. I think there's an issue of cultural difference. There's an issue of the benefit of the doubt. And then there's an issue of, I'm trying to think of a way to put this, but there's an issue of, just call it exposure or experience, privilege exposure, whatever you want to call it. So on the cultural difference thing, corporate is all about again, you put your foot in the door. And after that, it's like a whole different jungle where you have to, constantly prove yourself, or where you have to be liked. There's something called likability in corporates. It's a very common term. I don't know if you've come across it before. Likability means, do I like working with you, And likability for me is one of those things that are vague and that create room for prejudice to thrive in corporates.
But wouldn't you say that everyone, no matter your skin color, no matter your gender, faces those barriers? Obviously to a different degree, I guess.
Yeah. But where I'm getting at with the likability is that likability creates room for vague matrices to be put, because you can just say, let's rate Liz on a scale of 1 to 3. Okay, fine. Performance, maybe she's a 2. And then communication, maybe she's a 1. And likability, nobody knows what constitutes likability.
It seems very subjective.
Exactly. That's where my problem comes in, to say the moment we start saying likability, one can say, okay, fine, maybe it's a concoction of, are you pretty? Do you twang? Are you light-skinned if you're black? Or which race are you? It's those kind of things that are unspoken. The unspoken rules of corporate, of who do you greet? Which clique do you belong to? In corporate, do you do drinks? If you don't, you know what I mean? I mean, if you're non-alcoholic, then hey, sorry. Do you dance the most? Are you the life of the party when we have a year-end function, for example? Do you send that email thanking everyone for those reply to all kind? Do you CC so and so? It's those kind of things. And where I'm getting at is that this links very much to the culture of how we interact with people, or how we interact with broader communities. In the black communities, normally you don't self-praise. Yeah, okay. You don't sing your own praise. You don't stand on the top of a mountain and say, "Look at what I did."
Okay.
But in corporate, is the other side. When you've done something, you even claim other people's success. Have you ever seen somebody take credit for your work? And
it happens.
It happens, right? And
which reminds me, actually, I need to. Yeah.
So it's those things where, because of cultural differences, there's certain cultures that are more closer, or that corporate is tailored after. And those cultures aren't mostly black people cultures, which is why it's difficult for us to fully be ourselves in corporate and thrive. If you are not being yourself, it's tiring, because you go there, you put on a cloth, and then, you play the game, and then you come back home tired as hell. Or if you try and be yourself because you don't want to come home exhausted from not being yourself, then you just lose out, because, you're not going to self-praise? Tough, I'll take your credit and run with it. And watch me do it without shame. So that was the first element. The second element we spoke about, what was it? The exposure, where it's not a myth that most white kids go to far better schools than and better meaning well equipped. They have textbooks delivered on time. They have meaningful school trips that are quite expensive, and that many people who aren't necessarily privileged can't afford. So when they have sports, like different kinds of sports. So in high school, by the time you're like 15, you either know you want to be a swimmer, you want to do cricket, you want to... Tina, like in school, it's either football or netball. Pretty common, right? For most government schools, really. So the opportunities for us to be in different fields is not there. And when you go into corporate again, you have people who play golf as a sport. You have people who, play tennis, with the clients. What do you know? You know soccer, when? How many clients play? Have you ever heard a client say, "I'm going to go play soccer"? No, simply because, not necessarily because soccer is not a prestigious sport. It is, and it's wonderful. But the culture of corporate is not always aligned with black people activities. Sure. We don't go to Shisanyama. We go to high-end restaurants and bars to entertain our clients and our colleagues. And that's literally what it is. Oftentimes, black people skills and what they're good at isn't easily exposed simply because it's not aligned or it's not embedded in the corporate culture.
Okay. Yeah. And there was a third one.
There was a third one which I've forgotten. Remind me, please.
I'm also trying to remember because I have exposure down here. Okay, no, but I get the gist of it.
Yeah.
Which obviously has a knock-on effect in terms of when you start corporate, you can start almost. You have a lot of catching up to do. And unfortunately, that means you'll never really catch up. Or if you are, you'd have to work twice as hard, put up a lot of facades. You're just disadvantaged when you start.
Exactly. Even when you're in it, because you see people who are successful, well, in the context of corporate and what it stands for, or what they believe success is for them. You still see them try so much to, because it's like it's a black person who's not, and I'm not speaking on behalf of all black people here. I'm going to speak for myself. As a black person who loves house music, who loves, eating bab in mohodu and all of those things, the moment I go into corporate, if we have, a year-end function, it's never a bab in mohodu and shisanyama kind of vibe. It's always a sort of like Western culture inclined, whether you are senior or you are junior, you still go through the same thing because a corporate is bigger than just one person. So what I'm getting at is that it's not necessarily something you have to overcome at the beginning of your career. It's there with you throughout your corporate career as someone who doesn't relate. One of two things. One, you either adapt and you adopt that culture as your own and you fully embrace it, and then you can perhaps enjoy it more. Or two, you embrace your own culture and you feel like you have to live a double life.
Sure.
The work Liz is not necessarily the same as the Liz at home. The Liz at home likes to sit and drink macheu. The Liz at work, wants to have these fancy drinks, champagnes and stuff. Maybe she doesn't like it, but hey, if you don't like it, then you don't look cool. Good luck getting that promotion.